As everyone knows, Oprah Winfrey is one of the most powerful and accomplished women in the world. Now, though, we'll talk about something that could surprise you: her mansion. You have probably seen exterior photos of her mansion, but what's inside? You might expect something glittering. After all, Oprah is well known for her lavish lifestyle and wealth. I can assure you, however, that her residence is not what you may imagine. You will genuinely wince at some of the things in there. Listen carefully until the very end because you won't believe what I'm going to tell you. You most likely think of Oprah Winfrey as a glamorous individual who has all of these things: success, celebrity, and fortune. Over the years, she has been able to build an empire through her work in magazines, television, and charity. But her mansion? But that's another story. It's not the glamorous, spotlessly furnished home that most people imagine. Actually, the opposite is true. What was she thinking is a question that will be raised by Oprah's expensive and unusual home. One of the most surprising aspects of Oprah's home is the way it is laid out. Given Oprah's wealth and notoriety, you might expect a huge palace with lavish staircases, shiny floors, and beautifully equipped apartments. But her home's inside is almost the opposite. The rooms are huge, indeed, but strangely empty. Though she doesn't know how to use it, she appears to have a lot of space. Some spaces have minimalist furnishings that seem to have been chosen with little thought. It doesn't look cozy or welcome because it's cold and almost too big for comfort. This kind of mansion should be cozy, yet the strange design and voids make you uneasy. The interior decor of Oprah's home is another significant source of misunderstanding. Despite the mansion's obvious riches, some of the design choices look questionable. The massive, empty walls seem to stand out from the rest of the house. Rather than reflecting Oprah's interests or sense of style, the artwork on the walls seems to have been chosen solely for aesthetic reasons. Ironically, several of the rooms feel nearly like museums, considering Oprah's wealth. Given her achievements and sense of style, her home should be filled with significant and unique stuff. But it appears that her mansion is trying too hard to be something it is not. Next, we discuss the furniture. Instead of feeling luxurious and comfortable, some of the furniture in Oprah's estate feels out of place. There are large sofas that don't belong there, and seats that don't appear flexible enough to be truly peaceful. For someone who is known to value comfort, it can be hard to understand why the furniture doesn't reflect that. In some places, the house appears more like an exhibition than a place to live. Oprah's layout seems less like a relaxing space and more like a set for a movie. You would assume that someone as successful as Oprah would have picked the perfect pieces to make the space feel like a true home, but it's a little drab. Now, let's talk about the lighting. In a mansion of big, you would expect that natural light would fill every room. Actually, not quite. There are some pretty depressing rooms in Oprah's house with poor lighting choices that make everything seem darker than it should be. Instead of evoking coziness and warmth, the dim illumination creates a chilly, almost sinister mood. Although the house appears to have been constructed for dramatic effect, it doesn't feel at all cozy or inviting. The lack of light in some areas simply adds to the eerie feeling that seems to pervade the room. But the weirdness doesn't stop there. One of the most talked about features of Oprah's house is her backyard. Oprah's garden should be a true paradise with tons of greenery and places to relax, considering her huge property. But it's not. Oprah's yard's strange planting choices and huge empty spaces make it feel a little gloomy. The backyard isn't a beautiful, serene spot to unwind. It feels strange, nearly empty. Despite being well kept, the lawns seem to have served more of an aesthetic than a practical purpose. There isn't a cozy place to gather with loved ones or a pleasant area to relax and enjoy some refreshments. The room is simply empty and doesn't seem like a place to relax. Next is the kitchen. In any home, the kitchen is usually the focal point, isn't it? There, individuals gather, share meals, and form bonds. Oprah's kitchen, on the other hand, is quite sanitary. The space isn't warm and inviting, as one might expect from a large house. Instead, it is more akin to an appliance showroom, entirely functional but devoid of personality. Oprah doesn't appear to cook or eat there very often. It appears that aesthetics were given precedence over utility in the kitchen's design. So, what's the situation with Oprah Winfrey's estate now? One of the richest women in the world would obviously not live in such a house. The room is really uncomfortable despite its size, with strange furnishings and decor and virtually no warmth in any of the rooms. Instead of seeming like a cozy retreat, Oprah's estate seems more like a place to impress visitors than a place to call home. Given the stark contrast to the kind, grounded demeanor she has cultivated over the years, you have to question why she would choose a home that feels so impersonal. But despite everything, Oprah's mansion is proof of her amazing success. Her home, with all its eccentricities, is a reflection of the life she has clearly built, one that transcends worldly belongings. In the end, Oprah's mansion might be just another example of how things meant to sparkle don't always live up to the hype. Perhaps Oprah is more concerned with creating a space that represents her path, choices, and incredible achievements than she is with making her home seem cozy and inviting. I appreciate you viewing. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Or is there more to Oprah's estate than its repulsive exterior? I hope to see you at the next one, and please leave your opinions in the space provided below.